Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to the Fantasy Forecast for Thursday, March 24th, 2016. We have a 5-game slate in front of us, a lot shorter than yesterday. I got a request to review the results from yesterday, so here they are. I'm going to let you guys just pause the video and see. It starts at, because I don't know which optimals go with which particularly. There's 284, 289, 99, I don't think I listed. I think that was the last minute one I ran. 311, this one was interesting here. Yeah, this one was very interesting. So, before I get onto it, anyways, and I'll move on to the others. Most of you guys just know that I'm not like other guys. I don't tweet out winning pictures and stuff. I feel that we can be modest about it when we win, and by not claiming that, I'm winning all the time, I don't think there's as much pressure on me or any of us at all when we hit the occasional loss. And it's lucky for us, I've been a bit better this year. Predicting win or loss is kind of more likely, which is why I advise you guys on those nights to play lightly. I mean, I've seen some of you guys bet hundreds on my lineups, and that's flattering in some ways, but it's such a large amount of money, and it kind of makes me feel bad to hear about it if there's a loss. So I always want to advise when there's more risk. Guys, I want you all to win. And I believe in that old saying where if you teach a man to fish instead of giving him one, you feed him for life and not for a day. That being said, I'm going to give you guys all the optimals, and my own each day that I'm able. And because, you could see a great combination in them. Obviously some of them hit. On an aside, Roto Grinders just won twice now in one of these that'll show up coming up. Even the GPPs and the quintuple ups hit in their last two. And so have a couple other lineups, And I ran a hidden joke yesterday. That's what we have up here. This is the Trump optimal lineup. Those of you guys that were sharp probably noticed that I took everyone that looked like an all-American boy from Kansas in it. But this tongue-in-cheek lineup, actually went over 300 yesterday, and it cashed everywhere, which was just surprising. Yeah, you're Trump optimal. Okay, moving on. There was a couple other ones. That one was a really bad one. The 262 wasn't good. This one was the best. I think this was Roto Grinders, like I was saying, guys. And you can check from the video yesterday, but they pulled a 333. That was an incredible score. Absolutely incredible. And then my cash lineup that I gave out on the video, guys, did quite well. That was a 325.9. Now, I did tweet out a change, but because of Twitter, and this probably saved most of you guys, it only posted with like a minute or something for people to have a chance to go in there and change it, so no one really did. So everyone that ran my cash ended up running this, and this paid off quite well. I mean, I was quite sad about Chris Paul. I mean, you really would have expected him to give a better performance, but everything else was just solid, so, there's nothing to complain about there. That's what I mean with a solid core, guys. Solid cores will really run your lineups right to the top every time. So, I mean, this crushed any game you guys entered. Quintuple ups, double ups, you name it. It might have even won some leagues at the top. I have no clue, but 325 is impressive. All right. And then there was a 292 in there. Anyways, let's go to upcoming for today. All right. So optimal lineups for today. And this is Roto Grinders. And I'm going to pull them up real fast here. Roto Grinders has for us at the point guard Chris Paul and Tony Douglas. And I'll give you projections since they've been doing well. They're projecting Chris Paul at 45.6. They're projecting Tony Douglas at 29. They have Jrue Holiday and Rodney Hood at the shot guard. They have James and Babbitt at the small forward. They have Porzingis and Cunningham at the power forward. And DeAndre Jordan for the center. And let's go through those projections. Let's see. I don't really see anybody that stands out so much. They have the Tony Douglas at 29, like I said, and that's a value pretty close to 6 times. It's at least 5.5. The only one I see that's 6 times or more they're projecting is Luke Babbitt. They have him at 23.3 points. Everyone else down around that 5 times value number. Oh, and Dante Cunningham. They're projecting Dante Cunningham at 23 tonight, which is about 6 times as well. That's pretty good. Total projected score in this lineup, 304. Okay. Let's go to RotoWire. And RotoWire has for us Irving and Calderon in the point guard, Holiday and Smith in the shot guard, Carmelo and Hayward in the small forward, Favors and Porzingis at power forward, and DeAndre Jordan for center. Like I said, every night, guys, you're going to see similarities across the board in these optimals. It's just the way they come out. The best values on the board here that I see that they're projecting, they have Jose Calderon at his 3,800 price, projecting at 21.2. He's their best value on the board. A lot of their pick, J.R. Smith at 23 points basically, but he costs 4,300. They're projecting Porzingis at 5,900 at 30.6. And that's, when you get to higher value, you really need the higher multiples too. So that's a good one there too. Okay, moving on. Daily Fantasy Cafe. The joke from yesterday about how they had ASIC in there for 60. I believe he put up about 22 points last night. I think I said 30. At least it was somewhat close. Well, they ran ASIC again, guys, and they have ASIC again marked down for 60.3. I don't know what is going on over there, but I pulled him out, and it ended up sticking in Jordan Hill, which is a game-time decision anyways, and, it changed a couple things around. Instead of giving you LeBron, it moved it up to Durant, so I'm just going to give out this lineup anyways, because ASIC can still do okay at his price point. So we got Westbrook and Lillard at the point guard, Afalo and Stuckey at the shot guard, James and Hayward at the small forward, Love and Ibaka at power forward. And I do think there's a better choice than Ibaka tonight in that position, but Love is fine with me. And center ASIC. I chose him yesterday. I'm not so sure about today after seeing the 22, 23 points. I mean, it's a value pick again for cash, and I can see you spending down. But today in my lineup, I had a chance to spend up a little bit, so that's where I went. And I'll show you mine in a moment. This was Daily Fantasy Pros. It was projected like at 321 or something insane, but that had that 60 points. So let's knock it down to 20 this time and say it projected at 281. Could be 291 if you're generous to ASIC and give him 30. He's not getting 60 again. I don't know what their problem is. All right, Daily Fantasy Cafe. And Daily Fantasy Cafe for us has Westbrook and Larkin in the point guard positions. They have Aflo and McCollum in the shot guard. They have Hayward and Anthony in the small forward. They have Kevin Love and Derek Favors for your power forwards, and Plumlee for the center. Now, I do like Plumlee tonight a lot. I mean, if you're going to take choices on centers, Plumlee's statistics have been there, and he's been looking like a nice value. They're projecting him above 5 times on theirs, and they're projecting the whole game at their whole score at 298. So they have one that's close to 5 times value. So every pick they have that is above 5 times is what they're thinking is doing really well tonight. Looking at that, I can see Shane Larkin is projecting at 6 times. They have him projected at 21.6 for Cleveland at minimum value. What else do I have here that's really decent in terms of hitting that mark above that I'm talking about? That doesn't do it. That doesn't. The other one is Mason Plumlee. At 5,200, they're projecting him at 26.9, which is a touch above his 5 times value. So, and they're projecting this at 298. Daily Fantasy Cafe hasn't done too bad, but they haven't. Their optimals haven't been like on fire or anything. Okay, and moving on here. This is RotoQL, guys. And RotoQL for us has today Westbrook and Tony Douglas in the point guard positions. They have McCollum and Kilpatrick in the shot guard. Bogdanovic and Durant at the small forward. And Durant has a really good game. I mean, but Utah's that tough opponent, and he didn't do as well. I mean, he said he was playing yesterday after he hurt his elbow, and he had 65 FanDuel points 2 nights before that, and then he put up 32 against an opponent he really should have done a bit better against with Westbrook. It was, yeah, you'd love 32 for most people, but at $10,000 it hurts. They have Love and Porzingis at the power forward, and Plumlee again for the center. We've already started talking about him. They're projecting this at 311 points. Okay? And today, my optimal cash lineup for you guys. And I'll go through my picks. I have Kyrie Irving and I have Tony Douglas at the point guard. Now, why did I not take Westbrook? I'm letting you ponder that for a moment. Because Westbrook is $10,800 and he's playing a Utah team. He loves to have good games, and he's somewhat matchup proof, but he's going to give me 50 points. And if Irving can give me 40 tonight against those hapless Nets, I don't know who the hell is going to defend him tonight, but they don't have anyone really, because Lopez won't get the job, so it'll be someone on the outside, and he's gonna put you 40 tonight. It's pretty. So I like it, and I'm looking for a touch of upside along with that solid floor. And I'm going to explain something at the end here, how you choose these solid locks for when you make a lineup. I won't tell you which in this lineup are the solid locks tonight. I mean, I think you can kind of tell from the other optimals already. But I'm going to explain to you how you pick locks in a second for cash games, and you're going to really love this. It's called the 4x 6x rule, but it's got up to. I'll explain. Okay, Kyrie Irving and Tony Douglas. Tony Douglas is more along the lines of the guy has so much run right now with Davis and Anderson out, and he's actually been very, very consistent with what he's been putting up. And in a cash game, I want that consistency now. So I like him for, he's in between 5 and 6 times value, which means if you figure it at 5.5, he's going to give me 27 or 28 points tonight. It's not beautiful. I want 30 more, but I'll take it. This is a cash game. Okay, at the shot guard, I have Holiday and Ellis. Holiday's already showing us he is the center now without Davis gone, and the adjustment still isn't going to be there. They're going to have to pump him up close to that 9,000 price before you have to start to choke. So I like him again. I mean, New Orleans plays a bit faster and they're not as good, and the Pacers will try to keep up. I mean, so let's say 46 points or so. I'm more optimistic on him, obviously, because of the Davis absence, and he's just been the center. He puts up so many shots now. I mean, the guy would have had 60 fantasy points last night if he could have just nailed anything, because I think he jacked the ball up like 23 or 24 times. It was amazing. It's like every time the guy had a chance to shoot, the coaches were telling him, take a shot at it. Hit a couple trays, but he only got 7 out of 23, so that's what hurt him. But then he got his boards and everything else that he always does because he's turning into the center of New Orleans. It's too cheap for what he's been asked to do, and he's very versatile, guys. It's really apparent now. Ellis is consistency and steady on a bad shot guard slate besides Holiday. I mean, past him, you got Rodney Hood, but I mean, I'll take him against the Pelicans just because, the Holiday's really the only person that could attempt making stops here and there, might kick a block or two a game, but they're not the team they are. They're so depleted without the Davis and Anderson and the many others there along the lower. It's just sad over there. So I'll take someone against them and hope that they just hang in because Holiday's been playing well. Tony Douglas hit a few shots. And, I mean, you could New Orleans triple stack. I only have the 2 there, but I'm going for a cash game, not a tournament. You tend to want to stack when you're going for a tournament, especially on these shorter slates. All right, moving on. So, yeah, we like Ellis against New Orleans. Small forward, we have Bogdanovic and Hayward. Bogdanovic, the guy's price still hasn't moved, and he just keeps on producing, and he keeps on getting the minutes with the injuries over there. I mean, injuries seem to rule the season here at the very end. Look at his game log, though, guys. 33 minutes, 29 minutes, 29 minutes, 37 minutes, 33 minutes. He's going to give you another 30 minutes. And that floor that I was talking to you guys about, that where, you want to see guys going to give you about 5 times value. I mean, well, if I think the Nets are going to hang in at all, I think he'll give me 26 points again, like he did against Detroit. Charlotte's a bit tougher, but Cleveland's got King James. I mean, it'll be an interesting game. I suppose this would be the one I would look at most possibly changing if there's a pivot at the last minute, guys. So, your areas where you might think about pivoting, but he has had some wonderful ceilings, guys. Look at those ceilings just 2 games ago. 29, but he's a bit scoring dependent in them. If the kid scores, man, he's on. But if he doesn't really get his scoring, he has to depend on, those few rebounds and what he does get put in the basket. And not having a bunch of turnovers. All right, moving on. I took Bogdan tonight. I like him in cash. I'm pretty sure his floor is secure. Hayward is one of those guys with high upside, though, and a good floor. I mean, played well last night, really beat it. Utah's going to have to play faster with Oklahoma, like just going at them. I mean, we know it. They're going to try to slow them down, but this could be one of those games where they actually have a chance to push them into overtime, and you could get some really nice value out of it. Kind of the reason why I have favors underneath as well. I want getting some exposure to the game, but I just don't like the prices of Westbrook and Durant. And I think a lot of people are going to have them tonight on the shorter slates, and I think there will be some good strategy in fading them, because if they only give you 4.5 times value for each, yeah, they had good nights, but not for the prices you paid. This will be where a more balanced strategy will help you out. So Hayward tonight, and I really like his minutes. I got favors up. I don't know why, but he puts up like 35 minutes, 40 minutes. It's crazy. And he went 45 last night. It was wonderful. I mean, and it's a little points dependent, but not really. Look, only half of that came from points both those nights, really. I mean, he still seems to find a way to contribute in some other ways. He had 4 steals, which was really good on the total. He's not going to have 4 steals again. That's unlikely again. But Oklahoma's a bit sloppy. I would expect him to at least pick up 1 or 2 after having 2 and 4, so you can give yourself a couple points there. He doesn't really get blocks, you can forget that. But he picks up his assists. He'll be assisting out to both, and so they'll pick up another 3, 4 there. Boards, probably about 5 boards against Oklahoma. They don't clean it all up that perfectly. And you'll probably see your 20 points, 25 if he hangs in. And so you're looking at, what, a 35 fantasy point performance, about the 6 times value. Very nice. I'll take it. It doesn't need to be 46. It can be 36 and be an excellent lineup. Same with favors. Just kind of do the same thing, play off each other. 36 minutes, 32 minutes. I mean, they're going to be on the court most of the time, which is going to help you. Favors, his floor is a little lower, though. You can see he's at that 23 and 29 and 24. I mean, you can pull him out for sure. And actually, I would recommend pulling him out even more than, pull favors. And if you're going to pivot off someone, and go with Kevin Love. It's cheaper, and you'll find salary to move someone else, someone up somewhere if you want to. But on a short slate, it'll be tough. But look at that. 31, 44 FanDuel points. If he goes anything, I mean, he's a bit streaky too, though. 22, 24 when he gets his minute. He has to have full minute run. 48 and a 24. On a full minute runs, 35 and 29. But the 5 times floor seems kind of secure, and he's playing the Nets. I mean, that's a better matchup. So you do that. And we were looking at Bogdo before. Is there a way to bump? No, you have to go all the way to Mello. See, that's the problem on short slates, guys. This is really difficult to pull off. Hit George Hill. There's no reason to go to Ellison to McCollum, not with them. Well, you can try McCollum. I mean, there's a little bit of salary left. Can't get Gasol, and he's game time and probably limited anyways. Jordan and Lopez are your best choices there. And so you can't really move up with what you saved. I mean, you'd have to drop down to Taj Gibson, who's been getting a little bit more scoring lately. He's been kind of interesting. I mean, you could drop Porzingis, but I kind of like Porzingis tonight. I mean, the guy is finally real. I don't know what their problem is. Why do the Knicks coach the way they do? They're just horrible. I mean, he just goes there with nothing, and then they realize, oh, we're losing, and then they put him in and start giving him heavy minutes, and all of a sudden everything's wonderful again. Ridiculous. Okay. Well, let's go back to what the original lineup was. You can definitely consider a switch for Kevin Love, guys. I have favors in there. I kind of think it's a higher scoring game, so that's why I went with it for the cash. Save it back up again. Favors and Porzingis. Porzingis, his numbers have been wonderful, and he's playing the Bulls. They're depleted still, and Gasol just is still game limited and didn't do anything last night. So, and then you've got DeAndre Jordan there, guys. Finish up with going high at your center, since you'll have the money to do it tonight. And you might as well, I mean, you have a choice there between him and Brook Lopez, and I think Jordan might get a little forgotten if people try to go cheap and bounce up to some Westbrook and Durant's. So this could be a lower ownership run, guys, and really push you into the money, because he's pretty damn consistent. And if the Clippers, they don't have much defense anymore. I can see Portland scoring a lot on them, but the Clippers tend to stay in too. So they find ways to score. I think this is one of the nights you're going to see Jordan put up a few more points. And I don't know about getting any extra boards. Portland is more average in that. They're not like Dallas or anything, but the Clippers tend to give up boards. Being a Portland center, I think that's Plumlee against them, which is why that's also a good pick. All right, guys. And that is a consideration, too. You can pivot off this. Let me show you one real fast that might be possible. Go down to Plumlee, playing against those Clippers. Go for him to get some extra boards. Take Favors down to Love. Now you have 3,800 left. One of those big guys is definitely available. Instead of Kyrie Irving, you can take Russ. There's nothing wrong with Russ tonight. I mean, he'll give you 50. Right? So there you go. There's your other second optimal cash lineup. Why not? I'll run both. I'll have that other one entered in there as well. I have it saved somewhere else. But this is a good one for you guys too. If you get some more exposure to Westbrook, I mean, he's been playing better than Durant, obviously. If you're going to take one of the two, you'll take Westbrook. And now you got Kevin Love in there playing against the Nets, and you got Plumlee at the bottom playing against the Clippers with his cheap 5,200 price. This actually is a nice little pivot there. All right. So your optimal cash lineup, number 2 for today. Take your choice on either one, guys. At this point, just between me, after making the changes there, I think I like number 2, or the one I just did here right more. I mean, I know Kyrie Irving's in a good spot, but I mean, maybe if there's a way to pivot, I might do, Westbrook and Irving, upgrade from Tony Douglas, who's Mr. Consistency and probably only has a ceiling of 30, and, drop down somewhere if I found about an injury last minute. I can show you how that would be done too. Just an example of last minute pivoting, guys. That's all. So Kyrie Irving, you're going to lose 1,900. You can't drop down to minimum because it'll put you at 33. So Bogdo kind of stays, but you could cut Bogdo a little. You know what I mean? Go to Babbitt, who's definitely looking strong tonight. That only leaves you 500 somewhere. You can probably find 500 somewhere. Ellis to Hood, possibly. You leave 800 on the table, but it's possible. Hayward could go to Bogdo again. You could trust Bogdo. Well, Taj Gibson, like I was saying, he's got a decent chance against those Knicks to actually put up some scoring. He's very scoring dependent, but if he had one of his nights, I've seen him put up 50, guys. It just depends on if he scores or not. And that could be more lottery tickety. Porzingis is in the same category. Nothing much you can do there except drop to Ibaka. And he was recommended on another one. If you don't think Porzingis is going to have a good night for some reason, maybe he gets screwed on his minutes. Certainly happen. You do an Ibaka switch right there. Just a way to pivot. If you like Irving. I'm going to cancel that though. Okay. Now the one last thing I'm going to tell you guys and explain here is something real important about how to take care of, the results I gave you guys earlier, they're not typical. Winning is typical, but winning larger amounts and doubling up usually has a bit of luck involved. And that's fine too, because it makes up for that occasional loss if you guys are being steady and consistent with the amount that you play each day. In the end, my friends, this is entertainment, and you really need to play it on an entertainment budget. And all right, I'm done preaching to you guys, and those are all the relevant results. Those are all today's optimals from the science sites, my own optimal. And I'm going to go finish up here by discussing a basic strategy you guys can use when choosing those players for your cash game. And I call it the 4x, 6x rule. And let me go ahead and just start off by saying on a cash game, there's a standard always with every player you take of trying to break 300. You want 5 times value from everyone in your lineup. I want Russell Westbrook in this lineup to give me 54 points. We need to start there. Step 1 is, are you confident the player will break 5 times value? Well, on a short slate, I'm pretty damn confident he'll break 5 times value, and that's pretty much all he's going to really get, in my opinion. But, I mean, Westy he's pretty much matchup proof, so, he'll get his 50-something. So, let's say it's 55, that's fine, or 54. Okay. And if you don't feel, step 1's asking if you're confident. If you don't feel it's a maybe, you feel quite sure he'll do it, you can't feel it's like, oh, maybe he'll do it. You have to be like, I'm pretty sure he's going to do it. Like, I'm pretty sure Westbrook's going to get 54. Now, if I'm all wishy-washy, I don't know if he's going to get 54. Like with Durant, definitely with Durant tonight, I'll be like, I don't know if he's going to get 53. And that, if you feel it's kind of like a maybe, and there's a better option out there, you fade that guy. No question. So, but then let's say he passes the 5 times check. Now you go to the step 2, the 4x, 6x rule. The rule says here, now you need to be confident that his floor is at least 4 times his value and his ceiling is at least 6 times. Okay, Russ, is your floor at least 43 points? Yeah, your floor is 43 points. We know that. I'm not even gonna, that's cool. He passes that check. And then is his ceiling at least 6 times? Can Russ give us 65? Russ can give us 65. We have seen that too. Okay. So, and that's just an example from today. And so basically, the rule says that he has to get his 4 times floor at least 80 to 90% of the time. And he has to get his ceiling, his 6 times, his 65 points, at least 20%, or 10 to 20% of the time. So you can round off to 85 and 15, but in a FanDuel game log with consistent minutes, that means that Westbrook needs to show at least his 43 points, in 8 or 9 contests out of the 10, and he needs to show 65 points in at least 1 or 2. So does he qualify? He hit 65 in 1 contest. That's in the 10 to 20% range. Now, has he ever gone below the 43.2? He's gone below it a couple times there. Look at that with San Antonio, Minnesota. Some of the things with minute runs, though, you can excuse a little bit. You have to make comparisons on the games. I would say he doesn't particularly meet the 4x rule. His floor could be a little bit lower. So maybe, and this is I had that original lineup at first, and you guys can go back to that. But, it's a short slate night, guys. Sometimes you have to compromise just a touch. And he's pretty close. But that's kind of the rule that you go with. So in the FanDuel game log with the consistent minutes, and here, another option would be Tony Douglas. Go with him. His salary is $5,100. It says that he needs to hit 80 to 90% of the time, 4x, and 6x at least 10 to 20%. So in his log with consistent minutes, he needs to have at least 20 FanDuel points in 8 to 9 of the contests, and at least 30 in 1 or 2. So does he qualify? He's hit 30 in 1, 42 in 1, 30 in 1. He's hit 3 with ceilings, and then in terms of the lower ones, has he done below 20? We might be able to give him a pass on the Milwaukee game. It's almost 20. But he's got 2 low ones, and so it's within the 10 to 20. This is a good cash game pick. It's steady. He meets the criteria, because you also expect him tonight to get 5 times, which is only 25.5 points. All right, guys? So you run the 2-step step with everyone, the 5 times, and then the 4 times, 6 times. And for all the guys that meet the criteria, those are your cash game locks. All right, I want to send a special shout out today as well to Sandpiper community. Those guys are out there listening to me all shared together on one feed. Love you guys all to death and hope you win some money today. That's for darn sure. I want you guys all to win some money today. That's without question. I hope you've had a wonderful week going on so far. It's a beautiful Thursday night for you guys. Go on out there. Go win some money.